Okay, factoring a complex trinomial. It is a complex trinomial because it starts with something, x squared. Okay, and the trinomial part is obviously because there's 3. So step 1 is I'm going to get my FLU number. So what do you think a FLU number means? First and last. So what is the first times the last number? Anybody know that value? Negative 60. Okay, now I'm going to say how could I make 60? So 1 times 60. What else? What's the next?
Negative 30 and 2.
2 times 30.
10 and 6.
10 and 6. Let's keep going in order though. Is it divisible by 3?
3 and 1.
3 times 20. Is it divisible by 4?
2 times 5. 4.
4 times
15.
15. Is it divisible by 5?
12.
5, 12, and then 6, 10. Okay, now out of those sets, I need one of these sets to work to add to the middle. Okay, and then because this is negative 60, does it make sense that one of them is going to be positive and one's negative, right?
Yeah, 4 and 15.
4 and 15. So one's positive, one's negative. How do I get a positive 11?
Negative 4.
Okay, so there's my set. Now, how did I get the FLU? So what could I possibly have done to get the F? How could I make 12x squared? Give me some options. What could multiply to get you 12x squared?
Oh, 3 and 4.
3x and 4x. What else?
6x and 2x.
6x and 2x.
1x and 12x.
1x and 12x. That's it. What could I do to get the 5? What 2 things could I multiply to make 5? 5 times 1. That's it. Okay, now this is the best part. It's a puzzle. You have to make partners that produce a 4 and a 15. Can you find a set to make 4 and 15?
3 and 4.
So, did you find a 4 and a 15? Do you see it? There's a 4 and a 15. So that's the parts of my bracket. Okay, so this is how I start my bracket. I put a 3x and a 4x. Because look at that. First times first already makes 12x squared. Then I do this. Why do I do that? What am I working with? FOIL, right? The outsides and the insides have to combine to be 11. So what did we partner the 3x with? The 5. We partnered 3x with 5 to make plus 15x. And we partnered the 4x with the 1 to make negative 4x. Do you see my FOIL? Can you FOIL this out? If I just gave you this, how would you FOIL it? What's first times first? 12x squared. What's the outsides? Plus 15x. What's the insides? Subtract 4x, which makes 11x. What's the last? Negative 5. So that makes that. Okay, so now the solutions. So if I want this bracket to be 0, how would you solve for x? What kind of algebra would you do? I would add 1 and divide by 3. So 1/3. Here's the trick. Your answer for x is opposite divide. So what is the answer here? Opposite divide. Negative 5 over 4. Negative 5/4. Okay? Now, does that look anything familiar?
No.
No, you were not taught that in grade 10? A little bit of a different way?
Wait, how to solve a complex trinomial?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Give me a little bit.
Something that you were supposed to have done in grade 10. Okay, let's try these ones then. Ready? Found that spot? Okay, FLA number. Get me your FLA number over on the side somewhere. FLA, the first and last. This is everything that I'm working with is all FOIL stuff. We're just foiling backwards because factoring and foiling are backwards of each other. So really I'm taking all my thinking about my FOIL and I'm working it backwards. Okay, so my FLA number, did you write? -6. The first times the last is -6. Give me what I could multiply to make 6. Give me a couple sets of things. How could you multiply to make 6? Okay, this one, oh, I started with a really tricky one. I need to make +5. 6 and 1 can make a 5. A 2 and a 3 can make a 5. One of them is correct and one of them is incorrect. What do I know about the signs? One has to be positive and one has to be negative, and it has to make a +5. So which set would you pick? -1 and +6. Do you see how tricky this could be? Because 2 and 3 could make a 5 as well, but the signs would be wrong. Okay, so check. Does this set multiply to that? Does this set add to that? Okay, I need you to write me. How could I possibly make that f? How could I produce a 3x squared?
1 and 3.
1x and 3x. That's it. Now, how could I possibly multiply to the L? 1 times 2. That's it. Okay, now you have to find your puzzle partners. What you partner together needs to make a 1 and a 6. So 1 and a 6. I put boxes and circles around so I can always see my partners. Okay, so now we're ready to place into brackets. And then always equals 0 because it's an equation, so we can't turn equations into expressions. Okay, I go x and 3x at the start because that's the first times the first in your FOIL needs to make 3x squared, right? Then I draw these little rainbows and I say the O on my FOIL is 1x with a 1. And then that makes up my -1x. Now the other rainbow is the inside, so I partnered a 3x with a 2 to make a +6x. What's frustrating for me is when people factor these wrong, because you should check your work. How do you quickly check your work? FOIL this. Does your first times your first make 3x squared? Do your outsides and insides, when you multiply your outsides and insides, would you end up with 5x? does your last times your last make this last? Okay, it's just foiling. You should be faster at foiling than factoring, right? The solution. What x value makes that bracket 0? -2. Because that's just a simple bracket, right? There's just an x in it. This one would be a fraction. So remember my fast method? Opposite divide. +1/3. You can also check your answer. Did you know that if I plug a -2 into this equation, it should make 0? So 3 bracket -2 squared plus 5 bracket -2, subtract 2. Here's the test. It should equal 0. So I got my answer correct. See? All these things you can do on a test if you want to know if you're right.
Why is your calculator in radians for rotors?
Oh, probably because I do my grade 12s, we have to work with radians. But it doesn't matter. The only thing it does is when I press sine or tan or cos. Next year you get to. Okay, flow number, how we start. So the first times the last makes -90. So 1 and 90 is a possibility. 2 times 45. 3 times 30. It is not divisible by 4. It is divisible by 5 times 18. 6, I don't know. Is it divisible by 6? I don't think so. 7, 8, 9. It is divisible by what? 6 times? 6 times 16. And 9 times 10? 15. Is that what you said? 6 times 15? Okay, there's my sets. One is positive and one is negative because this was -90. I need you to figure out a 9, something that makes a 9. 15 and 6, there would be a positive and a negative. So I need to make a -9 in the middle. So does that make sense? Negative on the 15? Okay, give me the production of the 10x squared options. So we could go x times 10x. We could have also done a 2x times a 5x. And that's it. How could you have multiplied to the 9? 1 times 9. 3 times 3. Okay, so there's my options, and then this is the puzzle part. You need to make a puzzle that makes a 6 and a 15. Can you find something from some sets? You can't mix and match sets, right? I can't pick a 10x and a 2x, right? Because that's mixing two sets. So I'm going to pick the 2 with that 3 to make a 6. And a 5x with a 3. So in other words, I'm not going to use those sets, right? Okay, now you're ready to place into your brackets. So 2x, 5x. And then you're ready to figure out all the FOIL placements. So the 2x on the rainbow needs to connect with a 3 to make plus 6x. And the 5x with the inside rainbow needs to connect with a 3 to make negative 15x. Okay, both of your answers are fractions. So what would be your two answers as a fraction? So positive 3 over 2 and did you write negative 3 over 5? And you're done. Okay, flip the page.